comes from somewhere and needs to flow to somewhere else. When you try to hold on to the water by creating a dam, something is lost. Dams can store water but don't promote the reproduction of life. Fish don't multiply in stagnant waters. For life to prosper, water must flow. The same applies to you. When you reach abundance, say 50,000 liters in your water tank, many people think that's enough, but that's not where the game ends. It's where it begins. Your capacity to retain matters less than the power you carry. That's why some people seem like superheroes, because their capacity has been surpassed by their power. They've understood that life isn't about accumulating, but about overflowing. When you carry the living God within you, your power exceeds human limits. Generosity is a way of showing who God is. Many disconnect from generosity because they try to bargain, thinking they'll only give if they receive something in return. But God doesn't operate like that. He didn't put a limit on the flow of water, and you shouldn't limit your generosity either. If you plant nothing, know that even abandoned land will grow thorns and weeds. The work you avoid today will double tomorrow. Even without planting, you will harvest. But what you'll harvest is weeds. The universal law of cause and effect. The second law of the universe is the law of cause and effect, or as I prefer to call it, the law of sowing and reaping. Everything begins with a cause, and the effect is its direct reflection. If you plant destruction, you will reap destruction. If you plant life, you will reap life. Here's the code. You never reap in the same proportion that you sow. A seed carries within it a power of multiplication. It never returns in the same measure as it was planted. It always returns multiplied. This is why it's crucial to be intentional about what you plant. Every seed contains a code that guarantees the harvest. When you understand the relationship between cause and effect, you start to see beyond. Every story, every situation has a cause. Discover the cause, and you'll understand the effect. Multiplication is the hidden secret within the seed. When you plant something with intention, it grows, multiplies, and overflows. And this is the great miracle. The harvest will never be just what you planted. It will always be more. The four mathematical operations and the power of multiplication. In life, we use the four basic mathematical operations: addition, subtraction, division, and multiplication. But understand this, you will never truly prosper just by adding or subtracting. True wealth doesn't come from accumulation or extreme frugality. It comes from multiplication. Multiplication is the path. Let's analyze the operations. Subtraction. Those who live only by consuming subtract from their resources. This is the saver who tries to economize but never truly prospers. Division. Sharing can be powerful if done correctly. For example, sharing knowledge isn't losing, it's multiplying. When you teach, you don't lose any of what you know. Instead, you help others grow. This is the only division that leads to multiplication. So where should you invest your life? In multiplication. The word seed comes from the same root as semen. A seed, when planted, multiplies. This applies to everything. A man plants a seed in a woman who, like the soil, nurtures it. The return is extraordinary. From something microscopic, a baby is born. When you invest money in something productive, like a business or an asset, it multiplies and yields returns. The role of females in multiplication. Only females have the power to multiply. Women, companies, financial investments, everything female multiplies. Males on their own lack this capacity. They provide the seed, but the power of multiplication lies in the soil, in receptivity. However, what you plant matters. If you plant anguish in your wife's heart, you'll reap sorrow. If you plant betrayal, you'll reap destruction. Females multiply not only the good, but also the bad. This is why it's essential to be mindful of what you plant. Multiplication. More than numbers. Multiplication is a divine principle. It's not limited to what we see. It's embedded in all of creation. When you understand this principle, you begin to see life differently. Think about the symbol for multiplication, the X. If you connect its ends, it transforms into a symbol of infinity. It represents a never-ending cycle where energy flows and returns continuously. This is the true secret of multiplication, a constant movement of giving and receiving, investing and reaping. The X symbol and the exponential mindset. When God made a covenant with Abraham, he said, "I am with you, and your descendants will be as numerous as the sand of the sea." Abraham then performed a ritual described in the Bible, arranging animals in a specific position and walking between them. This ritual carried deep meaning and was marked by the symbol we now recognize as the X. This symbol, often claimed by organizations or societies, represents something much greater. It doesn't belong to any group. It reflects what God has already done and continues to do. When you understand this, you start to develop an exponential mindset for life and business. What is an exponential mindset? An exponential mindset is the ability to identify what truly has the potential for multiplication. It's not about adding or growing linearly, but about doubling, multiplying, and transforming. Imagine you have a business idea. The first question you should ask is, does this have exponential potential? If the answer is no, move on and find another opportunity. Don't associate with people or projects stuck in division, consumption, or mediocrity. How does exponential growth work? Let's simplify. 1. If you have something worth 1 and double it to 2, you've started the process. 2. If you double it again from 2 to 4, you're on the path. 3. When you reach the third doubling from 4 to 8, you enter exponential territory. At the third doubling, no one can stop you. You're in a realm where multiplication takes over. Now, imagine doing this consecutively for 5 years. Any business that can consistently double over 5 cycles has the potential to reach billion-dollar status. A practical example. Once, I worked at my wife's family business. My father-in-law, the owner, asked about my salary expectations. I replied, "Pay me 10 cents in the first month." He looked at me skeptically and asked about the catch. I explained, "It's simple. Next month, pay me 20 cents. The month after, 40 cents, and so on." The miracle of multiplication. This story illustrates the principle of exponential growth. The small numbers at the start may seem insignificant, but over time, multiplication creates unstoppable momentum. This is the power of the seed. It starts small but grows into something extraordinary. Multiplication is the divine path, not just in wealth, but in every area of life. Plant wisely, nurture what you plant, and watch as the cycle of cause and effect yields a harvest greater than you ever imagined. The power of exponentiality, a transformational force. He grasped the concept immediately. With a sequence of doubling, something seemingly small can become extraordinary in a short time. Exponentiality is the engine behind the most powerful startups in the world. They grow by consistently doubling their results. The secret isn't just growth, but repeating that growth across multiple cycles. To reach exponential levels, you need vision, strategy, and consistency.